unfolding in the country. I'm very privileged and delighted to have Telangana as our feature state, as part of the Trailblazers 4.0. We've become very close friends. We've talked about multiple different things, sport, over the last few months with Prasad and Gopi, obviously, but with Jayeshji and his team as well, Ravi Teja and some of them from the sports department. Today we will want to understand this more, the use of sport as soft power. So without further ado, put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Jayesh Ranjan, Special Chief Secretary, Government of Telangana, distinguished IAS officer, again, Kolkata person in the sense, management from IIM in Kolkata, and one of the most erudite you will see in the domain that he works. Jayeshji, on stage, please. You've already seen him felicitate Gautam Gambhir, a deep, deep contributor to sport, someone who's made a difference to sport wearing his corporate hat. Put your hands together for Jude Gomes. Jude, can we have you on stage, please? Jayeshji, anywhere. I'll just take the corner, that's all. So Jude Gomes, head of AJS Federal Life Insurance, one of our biggest supporters. They have Sachin, for example, as their brand ambassador, and someone who's personally invested in sport. Once again, a Kolkata boy. I'm waiting for him. I'm told he will be here any moment. President of Hockey India, distinguished athlete, was in Telangana till a day back for the Women's Hockey World Cup qualifiers. Ladies and gentlemen, Dilip Tirki, 412 caps for India. Trisha, I need Dilip. Kindly just ask Dilip to come to the hall. You've heard him in the morning, one of my dearest friends and one of the greatest Indian athletes ever. Put your hands together for Pulela Gopichand. Two people who I have to personally thank and call on stage. Someone who has been a deep supporter of sport. You see the IDFC First Bank support for anything Indian cricket. And more importantly, he's not here as IDFC First Bank, he's here as a deep supporter of Indian sport and of mine. Put your hands together for Shripad Shende. Finally, again, someone, corporate leader, honcho, someone who uses sport in the corporate boardroom. I've shot many of my shows in the project that they've done in Joyville, in Howrah. Again, what are the lessons that adversity has taught him, sport has taught him? What does he use in the boardroom? Put your hands together for the head of Shapurji Palonji, Sriram Mahadevan. I'm just waiting for Dilip. I'm starting. I'm going to start. So I can take that. Dilip can take that. Doesn't matter. Microphones here. Jayeshji, I'll start with you. Telangana is not really known for sport. I mean, at least till some years back, I would say Odisha, I would say Haryana, I would say some other states, but not really Telangana. All of a sudden, I see facilities, I see champions, I see a global summit highlighting sport, I see hockey qualifiers, I see multiple different sports, I see a sports policy document, I see a sports university. Can you tell me what sport means to you as a government official and what is going on in Telangana?
Thank you. First of all, greetings to all the fellow panelists. Greetings to everyone in the audience. We feel very proud that Government of Telangana, the sports department, is associated with the 4th edition of Trailblazers, what hopefully will be a long partnership. So, see, there are multiple reasons, but one very obvious reason is the kind of personal interest the Chief Minister takes. See, in the government, as we all know, just as in the morning sessions, people spoke about how the Prime Minister himself is driving sports in our country. Possibly it was not happening with the earlier Prime Ministers. The same is true in Telangana as well. There may be a tradition, there may be a legacy, there may be good infrastructure, good intent, but unless the leadership prioritizes and takes it upon themselves that this is also important, it really does not move the needle. So we are at that window of opportunity where we have multiple things going together. Chief Minister himself has been a sports person in his younger days, and even now he plays recreationally. Many of you may recall that when Messi toured India, he visited 4 cities, and one city where the Chief Minister actually played with him. Of course, it was not a very serious play, They just knocked the ball around.
You are rubbing a very sort of salty wound in Calcutta, if you refer to that tour.
Yes, yes. In fact, I know that. He started his tour in the morning in Calcutta and the same later in the day in Hyderabad.
And you all stole the show, and we kept saying, if they can do it, why can't we?
Sure. So that is one. The second is, fortunately, this impetus that India possibly can host 2036 Olympics. So as a host, we all know that the host country gets some special privileges. You are permitted to field your team in every sports, which otherwise may not happen if you are not ranked high enough. So for instance, let us say India wants to play football in the Olympics. It will not happen in 2028 because we don't have the ranking for that. But if we are the host, obviously we can participate in every sport. Yeah. So that is happening. And obviously there's lots of interest and talk. In fact, you mentioned this, that till yesterday we were hosting the FIH World Cup qualifying rounds in Hyderabad. This is for women's hockey. And it was so pleasantly nice to see that every match, even if it is a match for the 7th and 8th place, where India is not playing, where some countries about whom we don't know much, in terms of their hockey prowess, that is, even when they were playing, it was all full house. So obviously many things are coming together, and we felt that this is the right time to get into sports. The message from our leadership is very clear, that the role of the government has to be designed in a very, very strategic way. We should not be where we are not expected to be. This is something which people complain and criticize about Indian sports administration, that you are trying to micromanage, you are trying to over-regulate, you are poking your nose where it should not be. So that is not our intention at all. We know that there are large number of institutions, large number of former sports persons and even current sports persons of repute, lots of corporates who have very well-defined sports programs. We should yield the space to them. Our role should be to bring more and more of such people to support our sports ecosystem. Our role should be just that of an integrator and nothing more than that.
Okay. Interesting points, interesting points. I mean, and he's walking the talk in the sense, I know a committee where there are 10 people. Normally what happens in a government committee is either the special chief secretary or someone of that stature, caliber will become the chairman. In this case, I think Sanjeev Goenka and someone else is the chairman of that committee. Jayesh Ranjan is not. So there is freedom in the sense to do things your way, and that's something that Telangana is doing. Gopi, you're a person from the state. You are a legend from the state. You've got your academy there. Before I go to Jude and to my other guests, what is it in Telangana that you want to highlight that the state is now doing different? I've been visiting your academy for the last 15, 17 years. What has changed in the last couple of years in the state under this dispensation?
I think as Jayesh sir has said, the leadership makes the difference fundamentally. The people who execute it make a difference. And today, thankfully with our Chief Minister, and Jayesh sir leading the sports department, we have the right people pushing the agenda. So I think from that perspective, a Chief Minister who's passionate about sport, who's going across party lines in some sense to get and talk the language of sport to the central government. I think that along with Jayesh sir's personal passion for sports persons and sports, I think that is actually showing up in the present dispensation. So when they talk about this at that deep level, then everything comes in: grassroots, university, elite sport, organizing events, all of these. And Telangana, I just want to recap a little bit, go back a little bit in my times and what sport is and how it helps. 2000 Sydney, Karnam Malleshwari had won the medal. Huge felicitations, inspired a lot of us who were part of the ecosystem, inspired a lot of them to take part in sport. I think one of the beneficiaries was me. Next year, we had Sania starting to play well. In fact, Jayesh sir was part of that group. He was heading the GHMC at that time. And you could actually see that they organized events to ensure that Sania could play well, literally. So that is the kind of push which the government had given at that point of time. Then we had the national games, one of the best conducted national games during that time, which was a big push. The Afro-Asian Games, which was a big push. Thanks to that and the basis of that, the infrastructure was built and we got the Commonwealth Games to India. So, and athletes started to do well from the state. So I think when you build, when you invest, when you have leadership which is thinking on the right lines, I think the offshoots are what we saw. And I think today we are seeing a leadership which is very proactive, which wants to do it, and without the hurdles of over managing stuff. So I think it's a really great space to be in Telangana.
Fabulous. And I see multi-sport in Telangana. There's, okay, that's the drone. I can't tell Trisha to stop that. That's very disturbing, that noise, by the way. Can you just take it back? So, you know, multi-sport is something that we seriously see in Telangana, and that kind of inspires me. And as Gopi was talking, I see badminton, I see hockey, I see, in fact, one of your people was with me and he said into gymnastics as well. So lesser known sport is being given support. Jude, can I come to you on that? I mean, you know, one thing is brand sponsoring sport. Okay, Jude, can you give me some money? You want to sponsor sport. One thing is brands building the sporting ecosystem, say in public-private, in partnership. Can you tell me a little bit about that? That just pure sponsorship versus brands really coming forward in building the sporting ecosystem.
So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Boria. And it's a privilege to be sharing this dais and panel with eminent personalities. Thank you. First, so Boria, your question is, many corporates as of now, what we understand is really looking at how do they go beyond just sponsoring a sport. And it's being observed that over the last maybe decade. So if you go back to how India was, you would be seeing that we were a one sport nation. So we were always concentrating, we were always focused or centered around either hockey initially, and then after it was cricket. And from there, we've seen a lot of eminent sports people. We've seen a lot of people, those who are excelling in various areas of sports. Which and in today's world, if you see the environment, you'll see that the sporting itself has become extremely, and you know, it's evolving as an exciting, I would say, arena, where a lot of you'll see a lot of sports people, a lot of athletes are actually excelling not only in traditional sports but across a lot of sports. Thereby, young Indians not only today watch sports, but they are also equally participating in the sports. As corporates, we were initially first looking at just sponsoring a particular type of an event. But one of the key things for any corporate is to change the mindset from a transactional mindset to a purpose-driven partnership with sports. And if that's possible, then the second thing which is also important is to look beyond a marquee one event sort of an arrangement with the sports and look at what they can do together and maybe change and look at the entire ecosystem itself. So when you're looking at the ecosystem, it is beyond, it is looking at, you know, how do we associate with sports right from the grassroots level by identifying talents, by really nurturing them, by providing training and by providing coaching for them and giving them the right amount of exposure. Once that happens, you will see that slowly over a period of time, you will build sports personalities, you will you will be looking at eminent athletes who have done exceedingly well. They then become household names, then they become obviously heroes, and it's very easy for the corporates to then get associated with them and to invest in them. So that is the transition we are seeing now, that over a period of time, most of the corporates or a large number of corporates, and especially AGS Federal as us, we've not been limited to just sponsoring a particular event, but we are sponsoring a cause, we are being there. For us, if you look at a brand philosophy, our brand philosophy says, Har Wada Mumkin, promises made possible. So what we are trying to do is we are not only supporting sports, we are supporting lives, we are fulfilling promises.
interesting, and I will take that to Sriram and Shripad. But before that, Dilip bhai, I know your flight was delayed. He's come straight from there. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, perhaps the greatest Indian hockey player, Dilip Tirki, President of Hockey India. Shripad, before I go to Sriram, similar question. You sponsor Indian cricket, you back Indian cricket, you use sporting, you are a runner yourself, you back the marathons, you back participatory sport. What does sport teach you? What do you take to the boardroom when you deal with complex challenges? What are the learnings from sport? We keep talking about sport as soft power. Does it actually make you a better corporate leader? Do you take it into your boardroom before I go to Sriram?
First of all, thank you for calling me here, and congratulations to Telangana. I think it's a great leadership, and the intent at the top, I think once that is very clear, then the state will progress for sure in the sports arena. Coming back to your question about, see, sports for us is a great levelizer, because today if you look at, if you have to look at, let's say, banking for that matter, and typically we talk about in banking about being credit worthiness and so on and so forth before you give the loan. But in sports, it's a different kind of credit worthiness. We're looking at sports from a credit worthiness of a character. Now, if that grit and determination is there, as long as you're doing things which are right, as long as you're able to deal with a situation which is thrown at you in a manner in which you can come out of it. I think from a boardroom perspective, because every day we are living challenges, it could be external ecosystem, it could be internal things. So I think sports is a great levelizer. We look at sports from the determination that the athletes bring to the table, the grit, the discipline. I think all of these are very, very important, and also leadership for that matter. How do you make sure that people who are down the line, people who are, because in a jungle or in a sport, you need everybody's support for you to be successful, especially when it is a team sport. So for us in corporate, it's also the same thing. I think you need to take everybody along, and it's more about inspiring leadership rather than, dictating. And I think because everybody knows their role, just like in sports, what needs to be done. We just need to get the best out of those people by inspiring them.
Sriram, what he's saying about inspiring, I mean, in sport, and everybody will agree here, Dilip bhai, before I go to him, sport teaches us how to lose, right? I mean, we lose, if Kopi plays 100 games or 100 matches, it is inevitable that he'll lose more. That's how sport is. For me, sport teaches how to fail, and I become better. What does sport teach you? I mean, again, the same question when you take it, does sport teach you how to fail and become better, fail more, get better?
First of all, thank you for inviting me, Boria, over here, and I'm very happy that Shapoorji Pallonji Real Estate is associated with this initiative and sharing the stage with all the real achievers of life. To start with, I think, yes, sports, as he said, is a great leveler. It cuts across caste, religion, income levels, everything. What it teaches you is that you might be very good on one day, and you might not be having the best day the next day. So great athletes or great sports person, what they do is they become so strong in their mind that they are able to overcome those challenges which life throws at them, which the game throws at them from time to time. And it is their spirit to overcome those challenges which keeps them going. And that is exactly what is there in the boardroom as well. We take a lot of decisions. Not all the decisions are right. Not all the decisions yield results. There are many decisions which fail, but that doesn't mean that you stop taking decisions. What you need to do is you need to analyze where you went wrong so that that becomes a learning curve for you going forward. And over a period of time, that becomes a knowledge of whatever you should not do in future, and then keep building on it to be more successful going forward. That's exactly a parallel which I can draw between sports and humility. Obviously, it teaches, sports teaches you humility, and failures in business teaches you humility. You should never be having that chip on your shoulder that, okay, some projects of yours have been a runaway success. That doesn't mean that all projects will be a runaway success. So you have to keep working towards the projects which are struggling.
Very true. दिलीप भाई ये बताओ, जब आप पहले तो ठीक है ओडिशा हो, तो एक स्टेट ऐसा था जहाँ पे हॉकी प्रोमोटेड होता था. उसके बाद झारखंड में हमने थोड़ा सा देखा, झारखंड भी वही कर रहे थे. मैं रिसेंटली देखा आपने मल्टीपल MOU साइन किया है. कल तेलंगाना में हमने क्राउड्स देखा, इंडिया क्वालिफाई भी कर लिया है वर्ल्ड कप के लिए. व्हाट इज इट, आप तेलंगाना का जो ये रेवोल्यूशन हम देख रहे हैं स्पोर्ट्स का, योर एक्सपीरियंस विद द तेलंगाना स्टोरी एंड द यूज ऑफ हॉकी और स्पोर्ट एज सॉफ्ट पावर फ्रॉम द स्टेट, कितना सपोर्ट मिल रहा है? आपने ये लास्ट एक्सपीरियंस भी हमें थोड़ा सा बताइए अबाउट दिस वुमेन्स हॉकी क्वालिफायर्स इन तेलंगाना.
थैंक यू सो मच बोरिया जी. और काफ़ी एक्सपीरियंस हमारे स्पीकर्स हैं आज, सबसे मिलकर मुझे भी बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. देखिए स्पोर्ट्स, पहले स्पोर्ट्स आप देख लीजिए 2020-21 ओलंपिक्स का परफॉर्मेंस, 2020-24 का परफॉर्मेंस, मेरे ख्याल से कई सालों के बाद हम 7 मेडल लाए हैं 2021 में. ये हमारे लिए काफ़ी बिग अचीवमेंट रहा है. लेकिन हमारे जो स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर को देखेंगे, काफ़ी स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर डेवलप किए हैं हम लोग, लेकिन इंटरनेशनल ओलंपिक्स, वर्ल्ड कप और मेजर टूर्नामेंट हम अचीव कर नहीं पाए हैं. तो कहीं ना कहीं मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि हमारा जो फेडरेशन और हमारा कोचिंग सिस्टम, लॉन्ग टर्म कोचिंग सिस्टम या ग्रासरूट प्रोग्राम को हम कभी ध्यान नहीं दिए हैं. और कई मेरे ख्याल से अभी 10-12 सालों में, 15 सालों में अभी हम ध्यान दे रहे हैं, इसलिए ओलंपिक्स में वर्ल्ड कप में बेटर कर रहे हैं. क्रिकेट की बात हम छोड़ देते हैं, क्रिकेट एक अलग लेवल में चलाए गए हैं. बाकी स्पोर्ट्स की मैं बात करता हूँ, क्योंकि जैसे आप उड़ीसा के जिक्र किए, और मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा फॉर्मर चीफ मिनिस्टर नवीन पटनायक जी को, कि उन्होंने कोशिश किया कि इस हॉकी को कुछ चेंजेस करने के लिए, हॉकी के जरिए एक स्टार्ट किया उन्होंने कि एक फर्स्ट उन्होंने फोकस किए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, उसके बाद इवेंट चैंपियनशिप ऑर्गेनाइज करना, फिर उसके बाद कोचिंग प्रोग्राम. ऑलरेडी हॉकी एकेडमिक्स हैं, हॉस्टल्स हैं, वहाँ पे बाद में किस तरीके से बेटर प्लेयर्स निकल पाएंगे. लेकिन एक आज के तारीख में स्पोर्ट्स को प्रमोट करने के लिए, स्पोर्ट्स को बढ़ावा देने के लिए ये तीनों एरिया काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. लेकिन नवीन पटनायक जी कोशिश किए थे, और आज मेरे ख्याल से कई हद तक हम लोग सक्सेस हो गए. जो उनका एम था कि हॉकी कहीं तक पहुंचाना है, कई हद तक सक्सेस हुए हैं. मुझे याद है 2010 से पहले इंडियन हॉकी की स्पोर्ट्स क्या थी और आज क्या है. जब से उड़ीसा गवर्नमेंट जुड़े हुए हैं 2013-14 से चैंपियनशिप के जरिए, फिर स्पॉन्सर के जरिए, उसके बाद इवेंट के जरिए, आज कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँच गया है इंडियन हॉकी. और मुझे काफ़ी खुशी होता है कि उड़ीसा को फॉलो करके काफ़ी स्टेट अभी सामने आ रहे हैं. बहुत सारे स्टेट सामने आए हुए हैं.
यही मैं आपसे पूछ रहा था.
बहुत सारे स्टेट सामने आए हैं. पहले मैं झारखंड, हमारे तमिलनाडु, बिहार, अब तेलंगाना. थैंक यू सो मच जय सर जी. अभी जो वुमेन्स वर्ल्ड कप राउंड हुआ, बहुत ग्रैंड सक्सेस हुआ, और जिस हिसाब से खिलाड़ियों को आपने सम्मान दिया, जिस हिसाब से ऑर्गेनाइज किया, जिस हिसाब से फेडरेशन को सपोर्ट किया आपने ने, बहुत एक्सेलेंट रहा है. और हम चाहते हैं कि स्टेट सामने आए, और बिना गवर्नमेंट के आज मेरे ख्याल से आज के तारीख में आज स्पोर्ट्स को आगे लेके जाना काफ़ी मुश्किल है.
Jayesh ji, what Dilip bhai just said, the Odisha government backing hockey, 10 years, then 5 years, now again 10 years, that kind of stuff. We won 2 medals. You are backing multiple different sports. You've just organized the tournament. Is there something like that you are thinking that, okay, we'll adopt particular sports, much like the UK one, 1996 lottery funding comes in, and all of a sudden they pick up cycling. You have the whole Victoria Pendleton generation. Is there anything like that when you frame your policy?
Yes. So initial thinking is to focus on about 15 to 16 Olympic disciplines, and eventually, depending upon what kind of response we get. See, there are some sports where we have a very strong legacy. Many people may not know this, but I mean, we are sitting in Calcutta, so it will sound even more surprising. But the last time an Indian team performed at the highest level in football, that was the 56 Melbourne Olympics.
Correct.
Half of the side was made of Hyderabad players, not players from Bengal or Punjab. So there is a strong tradition, but obviously over a period of time, it has got frittered away. There are some other badminton, of course. For the last 20 years, I would imagine, the entire nursery of badminton team is from Hyderabad, or let us say the 2 southern states. So we will be picking and choosing sports from that perspective, where we had a strong legacy, or where there is a very strong following, or there are some, so I know that in the afternoon, late afternoon, Sania Mirza is coming. So tennis is again a sport which has shown lots of interest and following in Telangana. Currently also in both the national women's team and the men's team, there are players from Hyderabad who are there. So like that, we'll pick 14 to 18 sports. But my guess is that over a period of time, we'll start focusing or specializing in a few of them, because it's very difficult to boil the ocean. You will have to, at some stage, filter yourself and focus. But currently, we are not straight away saying that we'll only focus on badminton or on football, wide and then narrow.
The problem that I have seen with government, Gopi, is red tape. Yes, 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 doesn't happen, you keep going, Sarkari Babus. With Jayesh, the advantage is, it has to be done, it gets done. But Jayesh is one person. One person cannot change a system. What's your experience with Telangana? I mean, you run an academy, you run grassroots programs, there are people in your academy, you're a figure who has given India champions. Is government backing for real, where we can expect real change?
I think one of the things, and our Chief Minister has said this in the past, is that we've had a government where in the last few years, at least what the previous government has done, the new government didn't change anything. So for people who are trying to invest or who have an interest in Telangana, I would pitch that that's one of the things which they have done, is that the policies haven't changed because of change of government.
That's great. So no vendetta.
Yeah, no vendetta kind of a thing. So I do expect that the policies which are framed ones will be followed. We are at a golden period because, not because Jayesh sir is there, but I think Jayesh sir has been part of every sporting event, every tournament which we have conducted, whether it's been in the sports department or not. So he would know scores, he would know timings, he would know distances of every athlete, and these are not the top athletes. So that's the kind of interest he has gotten. So to genuinely get some chief minister like that, to get somebody as a execution arm is very rare. So we are in that phase now. I think we just need to spread our arms and wings and fly as high as we can go at this moment of time, because I do believe definitely that this is the right frame. And when we put a structure in place, then it is going to be long lasting. My one point, I think physical literacy is one thing which I have spoken about always.
And tomorrow morning we have a panel on physical literacy.
I think it's supremely important as a country today that we focus on these things, because we've been focusing, I think, on the wrong aspects. And I think sport for all is important. Physical literacy is a key component. Everybody needs to play sport. So spoken about the benefits of sport, the life lessons of sport, which are supremely important for everybody. And I think an even bigger issue is coming up, where this generation of people who are not grown on the ground are actually becoming adults, and when they become 30 and 35, they're going to bring a huge range of problems coming, which are basically inactivity leading to muscle loss and elder care. I think this is what the Prime Minister was talking on Monday when he speaking about Khelo India mission. And I think it's a huge problem. So sport for everyone is supremely important, whether it's young kids who have to have a starting opening balance when they get to 30, when muscle loss starts happening. I think, boss, if you don't have muscle at that time, then what are you losing? You're already at a deficit. So that's a huge thing. So all our diabetes, all our metabolic syndromes, all our issues related are going to be skyrocketing because of this. So I think sport is inevitable. If we don't spend on healthcare, we'll have to spend on sick care. And it's time India takes this big lunge towards sport. Medals is one side. Morning I spoke about, if you need those 50 medals, the trickle-down effect is you have to have all the kids in the country play sport. And it's very important.
I think we've got our headline. If you don't invest in healthcare, you will have sick care. You spend in sick care. Nice. That was a really nice one. And just quick digress before I go to Jude again. So Jayesh ji and I were speaking some days back, and I said, Jayesh ji, and he just said, I'm there for 3 more years, and then I will retire or something like that. The topic went there. And I said, Jayesh ji, the thing is on. He said, what? I said, advising Rev Sports, post that in sport. And he said, yeah, I will consider this very seriously. So that discussion is already on the sidelines. I'll ensure that we don't miss out on his expertise in Bengal. Jude, coming to you, last couple of years in AJS Federal, I've seen serious transformation. I see multi-sport get backed. I see running. I see, obviously, Sachin. I see cricket. I see different other sports, women's sports, rev sports, for example. My show, Backstage with Boria. Can you tell me a little bit about that? That all of a sudden, I see the brand completely transforming itself and starting to back every sport, not just cricket. And it's very vibrant. And since you took over, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure, Boria. So for us, it is, association with sports is not only a marketing decision. For us, it's a larger purpose. When we look at the sports, we believe that, okay, we can really impact lives, we can really fulfill promises of athletes. And we believe that whenever an athlete is entering an arena, he goes with a promise to do the best for himself or to herself, or to do the best for the country or the supports which he or she has. And for us, it is how do we fulfill that promise, which really resonates with our own brand philosophy of making promises possible. So that said, what we've done is that we had started off with marathon initially, and there was only about running. We have obviously brand ambassador in Sachin Tendulkar, but what we've also seen over a period of time that, okay, there were pockets of brilliance all across the country, and if we can associate and if we can make a difference to people's lives, especially people those who require that support, those who are not financially well off, and it's those segments which we've consciously made an effort of putting in our resources, whatever we as a company have, and make some differences. So whether it was badminton, whether it was Paralympics, whether it was some other sports, we've consciously done our bit in terms of helping cross-functional sports. And today the Indian paradigm has changed to a certain degree, in a sense that we are not a one sport or a two sport nation. So there are athletes, there are multiple sports which are really progressing well, and as an organization which is a new age insurance company, we try to be associated with those which make a difference to people's life.
Very, very interesting, and I'll kind of want to know more at some point on parasport also. Dilip bhai, Asian Games, women's hockey, men's hockey, Olympic qualification, last Asian Games में भी हम लोगों ने देखा पुरुष टीम गोल्ड जीतकर ओलंपिक क्वालिफाई कर लिया. दे गॉट दैट 2 year विंडो प्रिपरेशन के लिए. 6 महीना में वर्ल्ड कप भी है, एशियन गेम्स भी है, 1 महीना के गैप में है. पीक कैसे करोगे? हाउ विल यू प्लान फॉर द एशियन गेम्स एंड द वर्ल्ड कप, एंड इज इट पॉसिबल टू पीक इन अ मंथ फॉर बोथ मेन एंड वीमेन?
काफ़ी डिफिकल्ट ईयर है हमारे लिए. पहले वर्ल्ड कप, उसके बाद 21 या 22 डेज के बाद एशियन गेम्स हैं.
करेक्ट.
और मेरे ख्याल से साल में टीम प्लेयर मेरे ख्याल से 3 बार पीक परफॉर्मेंस में आते हैं, और हमें एक चूज करना पड़ेगा. मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि हमें टीम बैलेंस होके जाएंगे, लेकिन हमारा मकसद तो रहेगा, जो मेन मकसद तो है ही है एशियन गेम्स, क्योंकि डायरेक्ट क्वालिफाई होता है. साथ ही वर्ल्ड कप भी काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. जब पीक के बाद हम कह रहे हैं तो वो दोनों में सेम परफॉर्मेंस करना मुश्किल है. इसलिए हमें कोच के साथ, हमारे सिलेक्टर्स हैं, सबसे बात करके एक सॉल्यूशन निकालना पड़ेगा, जो कि मेन तो एम रहेगा एशियन गेम्स, और वर्ल्ड कप में भी टीम का परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा हो, उस हिसाब से प्रिपेयर करेंगे.
श्रीपद साहब, ये बताओ, when you see all of a sudden multi-sport booming in India, you see the Prime Minister championing sport as soft power 2036. You see 2030 a reality. Do you back this? Do you reckon mega events can bring about societal transformation? This usage of sport as soft power, as a corporate leader, you are so deeply invested in sport. How do you kind of back this vision, the larger macro vision of using sport?
I think someone spoke about sports being a great levelizer. It teaches you, and you also spoke about how it teaches you to fail. I think there are more failures in a sportsman's life than successes. And when he succeeds or she succeeds, how do you stay humble? I mean, these are all the things that we learn from sports. But more importantly, sorry, what was your question? Pardon me again.
The macro vision of using sport as soft power, like Olympics. I'll be more blunt. Do we say in India, there is poverty, right? There are problems, right? This is not a country that's an easy country. There are differences, there's caste, there's this, but you are going to invest serious money into an Olympic Games. So is a mega event a jackpot or a burden?
I think all of us need to be committed to this sports as a purpose. And once that is there, whether it is a brand, small or large, I think then we can achieve what we set to achieve as India as a country. But more importantly, it's not about just one sport country. Correct. And it is all about how do you give people tools, how do you get these gems which are there and who are undiscovered, how do you give them tools, whether sir spoke about health literacy, how do you give them all of these tools, infrastructure and all of these kind of things for them to discover what their talent is. I think that's what we need to do as brands, as corporates, and more we can support this, more and more we can come forward to do this. I think that will be great for the country.
Sriram, same question. Sport as soft power, the macro vision. Do you think, no, we are not ready yet? Are we jumping too fast?
No. I think India's time has come. With the 140 crore kind of a population, when somebody in the morning was saying that we only won 7 medals, that's not done. We should be winning more. I think the change has started happening. I think I'm noticing a lot of changes happening. The states have to take the lead because the infrastructure is controlled by the state. The corporates are jumping into the bandwagon. I think what is important from our side is that when we make any real estate development, the first and foremost thing what we keep in mind is that we want to just not make buildings, but we want to make an active gated community. When we say active gated community, we promote sports a lot. So you have been to some of our developments. So starting from badminton to swimming to your squash to all kinds of facilities we are providing. In fact, I firmly believe that I've grown up in an age where mobile was not there, where we used to watch black and white television, where live telecast was a premium. I remember 1983 World Cup, where the live telecast happened only from the semi-final.
Correct.
You know, so that was the kind of an era. Now all the sports are being covered at large levels. So I think a lot of focus is going across multi-sport. It's just not cricket. Yes, cricket dominates because of the kind of soft power that we carry in ICC. $10 billion kind of business that we generate from there. So these sports which lack the kind of facilities, that needs to be backed, and this is the right time. I think we have the ingredients, we have the talents at the grassroots level. I have seen, for example, we curate marathons for children, in Pune. We curate football tournament for the residents, the children. We curate a local cricket tournament. So these are the grassroots kind of, they play over there, and then all of a sudden they get that confidence. We arrange cricket academies over there. So I would request Gopi at some point of time, maybe take a look as to what you can contribute over there.
Yeah.
We provide the infrastructure. I think it should be used.
Jayeshji, I'll close with you and Jude. So suppose we get 2036, I'm just assuming. Targeted dialogue will start in 2027, assuming we get 2036 and 2029. Will you say that, much like the IOC Reforms Commission, if you read the Reforms Commission document, it is no longer a city's games, it's the country's games. Will you put your hand up and say, Telangana is willing to host X events or X sporting disciplines?
See, if decision is to be taken on merit, there's no better city than Hyderabad today in the country to host it. But if government is pushing everything to Ahmedabad, then obviously nothing will happen. But we are very clear that at least if, so for instance, we have seen in earlier Olympics also, football, for example, every group matches are played in different venues, and then,
correct.
See, I have started this discussion with the sports ministry official. So one barrier they mention is that the Olympic spirit requires a games village to be set up where everyone lives together and of.
I'll say this. Take shooting. I've covered 6. Take Paris. Shooting was in Chateauroux. It was taking us 3 hours to go by train. Now Ahmedabad is okay, but Ahmedabad to Hyderabad is 2 hours by flight. Train from Chateauroux to Paris was 4 hours, 3.5, quarter to 4. So it is possible. So you save on money, you save on infrastructure, you have a facility. Will you argue on those lines?
No, we are more than willing. Actually, we have written officially to the national government as well. So as I said, if decision is to be taken on merit, see, it's on record. In fact, there is empirical data to show that amongst all the cities in the country, the most livable city today is Hyderabad.
Jude, I'll end with you. You have Sachin as your brand ambassador, and I've seen it is about bankability. It's about faith, har wada mumkin, promises made possible. As a brand, does sport give you that kind of thing that, oh, you know what, this is something, ultimately what is sport? It gives us joy. That's it. All this competitiveness, we all do sport because we love it. Why am I doing this conclave at the end of the day? I'm doing it because I love it. Does that also inspire a brand that it's good in a country which has so many problems?
Yeah, so on a personal level with Sachin, like he stands for trust, he stands for commitment, he stands for promises fulfilled. So if you look at the ethos which the brand and the brand ambassador stands for, so there is a lot of synergy there. That apart, okay, we in terms of our overall market standing, we are among not in the first quartile company. So when you do associate your business, or when you do associate your partnership with a brand as such as Sachin's and with sports personality, obviously you do get the advantage. You get the advantage of more visibility, and that helps us connect with the masses, right, in not only in the metros, also in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So I would definitely say that it is a big plus, and it's a win-win synergy for us.
Fantastic. I mean, to see this kind of an audience post-lunch for an erudite panel as this is not a Gautam Gambhir panel, huh? That you will come and get news headlines. This is not Gautam Gambhir who's just won a World Cup. This is why Trailblazers Conclave will always be different. A round of applause for the audience. Folks, loved it. This is serious, deep insight, proper, serious stuff. On that note, put your hands together for Dilip Tirki, Sriram Mahadevan, Jude Gomes, Jayesh Ranjan, Pulela Gopichand, and Shripad Shende. Please, can I have Grishma Singh back on stage, please, for felicitation? Grishma, can I please have you on stage to felicitate our eminent panelists? Can we have our team members once again to get, and all of you, if you come forward for a photo op, and we will straight away transition to the panel on broadcast. There's Grishma Singh, Vice President of Coca-Cola, and again, very, very close friend of mine. You will see Grishma in a panel soon, in about half an hour. But Dilip Tirki, Sriram Mahadevan, Jude Gomes, Jayesh, Gopi, and Shripad Shende. And as Grishma does the honors, the next panel will be on sports broadcast, and the way ahead, some very favorite people of mine, someone who I've badgered on the phone for the last 6 months saying, let's work more together, and a go-getter by himself, somehow dodged the war and managed to come from Africa. Our contributor from Africa, ladies and gentlemen, the head of Z Africa, my friend Shobnath Malakar. I see her these days, and I see her being everywhere. She's a celebrity in her own right, and I go back to the days when a very not so confident Ridhima Pathak would walk up to me in England and say, I want to make a career. Now one of the best that India has. Put your hands together for Ridhima Pathak. She's worked with me for 2 decades, literally 2 decades. And again, now is the voice of NDTV. Put your hands together for Rika Roy. Again, I work with her on a daily basis for the pro-cam marathons and participative sport. One of the best communication professionals this country has seen. Put your hands together for Neha Kandalgaonkar. And in a different avatar, not as moderator, but as a broadcast champion, someone who's shaped channels, someone who's shaped broadcast policy. Put your hands together for Ashok Nambudri. And to moderate this panel, my colleague Gargi Raut, who's now in many ways the face of Rev Sports. Over to you.